All good.
Yeah. Cheers, Becca. Thank you. Becca, I set up a poll in Facebook on the new Ask group. So if you like, we'll just use that. There is a function in Zoom, isn't there, for doing a polling? But I think we'll just use the Facebook one. Unless anybody has any.
Yeah, I think the Facebook one's better because people that aren't on tonight's tasting can still vote on it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a few. I've got about 5 votes already in. So
5 already, bloody hell! So you know who's got the head start then?
Well, there's 2 in it at the minute, I think.
Okay, interesting.
So out of the 5 votes I had, because there's a few people who can't make it tonight, but still wanted the set to be able to put a vote in for the festival bottling. Hi, Oliver.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Well, is one of those 2 that are currently in the running number 4 by chance?
I'm not giving anything away.
Oh, can't give any clues. Can't give any clues.
Too early in the day. Too early in the night.
I've had a tenner on number 4 after the last time. I've had a tenner on it.
I wouldn't be surprised if a number of people go for that one, Steve. I can tell you now that number 4 is going to have to really convince me amongst anything else. It's Caroline's already decided number 3 without ever having nosed it. It was decided hours ago when she saw him.
Straight down the middle. I like that.
Well, I have a feeling that there's going to be some contentious stuff on tonight from these 5. But Ian, I don't know, would it be an idea? Shall we start with your brand new release?
Yes,
blend?
I think that would be a good one to start with. The one that's you've on the unbranded one, as per se. Because by the end of it, will probably just be whiskied out. So it might be a good idea to start with it at the start, I think, and then get that in a wee separate corner.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi.
How are you doing? Yeah. So the blend, the brand new blend we're talking about is your blank sample bottle. So that's the one with no number on it, and you'll be pleased to know it's nice and straightforward tonight. I believe we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Correct. That's yeah.
So,
Come on, Carl. You know that never happened.
I'll try and cock it up. But well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. We are in for a bit of a treat tonight. I believe, and I'm waiting to be shot down here, that this might be the first time ever that I'm aware of that you guys, people who are coming to the whiskey festival, get to choose one of the festival bottlings, or the festival. There is actually going to be a couple of festival bottlings, at least that I'm aware of, for the Indie Festival. But I believe this is the first time that I'm aware of that you get to choose out of some cask samples. Anybody want to shoot me down? Anybody hear of anything where the guys attending got a chance to choose?
No.
Oh, that's good. So usually I get shot down in anything I say, so that's good silence.
Yeah.
So, Ian, are these 5 samples, bar the blank, essentially these casks that you have that you could release at any stage, but you're going to release the one that essentially gets picked for the festival? Is that how this works? Is this what this is?
Yeah. It's basically casks that I've currently not got assigned for bottling this. I've got 4. I've got 4 more standard releases that are coming out. We do this cask splitting thing where we release these 2 ranges called a copper and oak kind of permutations range, because we always split casks in half when we get them. So basically we release half a cask exactly as we get it, and then we finish the other half and release that next year. So I've got 4 planned out for this year, but these are casks that are currently unassigned per se. So yeah, they're still in bond, and you guys will pick one to be taken out of bond, basically. But some of them, if they don't get picked, they might end up being in future releases if they don't end up getting used for something like this.
So Peter, you're trying purposely to confuse things, aren't you? The blank bottle is not number 1.
No,
It's the first one, Sunshine. It's the first one. Your own faults.
The blank sample bottle is the brand new blend from Fib Whiskey, who Fib Whiskey for anybody who may have missed all the details, but Fib Whiskey tonight are represented by Ian Mundy. And Ian has very kindly put forward this brand new idea of actually doing these 5 cask samples, and you guys get to select which one will be the Fib Whiskey Festival bottling for the Indie Festival on the 2nd of September. So we're going to start though with the blank sample, which is the brand new blend. And Andy, thanks for joining. John Musham's there just joining as well. So we'll give John a quick second to just join in. So John, we're going to start with the blend, which is the blank sample bottle. And I think I'd like to hand over to Ian initially. Maybe you could give us a little bit of a background about the blend, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I certainly can. So no, hi everyone. Thanks very much for having me on, and Carl for agreeing to be part of this crazy experimental tasting, which was I don't know, was it your idea? Maybe it was yours or mine. It was a concoction of both.
Yeah.
But,
well,
yeah.
Put it this way, I love the idea. Whoever came up with the idea first, I leapt on it 100%.
I'll give you. I think it was definitely partially your idea. So no, but yeah, because we only had 5 samples to choose from. Obviously, you know, a tasting session without 6 samples seems a bit mean. So yeah, so I basically coincided the release of our first ever blended whiskey with tonight's tastings. I thought that'd be a good chance for you guys to try it on release day as well. So that's why, yeah, Carl, you got a prototype bottle that didn't even have a label on yet when you got it for the tasting. So yeah, I don't know if most people on here are obviously, considering you're all coming to an awesome indie bottlers festival, will be totally clued up in what indie bottlers are. So yeah, we're an independent bottler, and we started just at the tail end of last year, based in Fife, which is a lovely part of Scotland. I know some of you have been up to the Fife Whiskey Festival. Obviously, I saw Carl there and some US folks. And yeah, we're basically, I'm based in Kirkcaldy, which is where I kind of my office is, and then all of our casks are currently managed for us by the Auchtermuchty Bond, which is kind of in the heart of Fife. And I think were they going to come to your festival last year but didn't make it, Cameron, or something like that?
So Cameron Imrie, and he supplied a bottle for the patrons tasting set.
Brilliant.
And I think they even did a bit of a sponsoring of so that's actually one thing as well that you didn't mention, Ian, was that Fib Whiskey are the pre-festival party sponsor as well.
I'm excited for the pre-festival party, but I'm wary of it as well. I'm scared of it. A little bit scared of it.
So you guys Fib are bringing some bottles along to share on the night as well. That'll be fantastic as well, and it's great to have Ian and Fib join us so brilliantly. They've jumped on board so well. It's At the end of the session, by the way, I'll give anybody who wants to stick around, I can give a bit of an update on the festival as well, because we're very quickly coming. It's coming at us at a bloody lightning speed, so I can give you a bit of an update on that as well. But anyway, sorry, Ian, go on.
No, that's fine. So I mean, that was a bit of waffle, but yeah, I basically this Pictish Beastie was basically the first whiskey that I've had because when I started the company, I started with Aidan Burt, who was basically on the call. Like you were all, I don't know, there was probably quite a fair few of you on last time with Aidan, and obviously everyone knows, sadly, he passed away earlier this year. And the kind of arrangement with Fib, because obviously Aidan had a brilliant palate and he was very good with these whiskeys. So he basically sorted the whiskey side of Fib, and I was the everything else guy, which was quite a lot. So I'm still doing the everything else, but scarily, I have now had to make whiskey decisions. So this is the first thing that I have had a say in. And I basically decided to do a blend because obviously with the way that, the cost of living is going, and it's been a bit of a disaster for, the cost of everything this year. So I wanted to do something that was still cask strength, a limited bottling run, something still pretty special, but affordable as well. So this one we've called our Pictish Beastie. If you can see the bottle, the artwork was done. It kind of features our little mascot, which we use on our logo, which is a kind of, no one's quite sure what it is. It's found on a lot of old standing stones around Fife and bits of Scotland, but it's a Pictish mythical sort of animal that everyone thinks might be Capricorn, or it might be some sort of sea monster. No one's quite sure, but it crops up a lot. So it's our mascot, and we called our blend our Pictish Beastie. Yeah, the artwork's lovely. It was done, if you're interested, there's a Scottish artist called Orla Stevens. Yeah, seahorse lion hybrid. I like that. It was a Scottish artist called Orla Stevens who does all of our bottling work. And me and my brother are in a wee band, and she did. I first got in touch with her because she actually did our album artwork and stuff like that. So we transferred her across to the whiskey side. So yeah, it's basically the Pictish Beastie is only a blend of 2 single casks. It is 1 single malt and 1 single grain. The single malt is a Deanston 9-year-old, which we have finished for about 4 months in a first fill PX sherry hogshead. And the single grain is a Cameron Brigg 11-year-old. So we've got a wee bit of Fife in there, which is nice because it's the first time we've had some Fife whiskey in our Fife Independent Bottlers whiskey release. So that is also, it was a little bit raw. It was 11 years old. So we finished that off in a sherry butt as well, that has held a Glenallachie that we're going to be releasing later in the year. So it's had a nice bit of Glenallachie sherry influence, which is cool. So we basically did about half of each cask, which means we've got half of each cask still in the sherry butts / casks for a potential Beastie Volume 2 in, say, like 6 months, a year. That'll be a proper sherry bomb. So this is basically like a baby sherry. But yeah, it's our Pictish Beastie. It's 46% a single malt. That's the Deanston, 54% of the Cameron Brigg single grain, and it's 58.8%, and it costs £54 because I wanted to do something that was kind of at a good strength and affordable as well. And there's 250 bottles, and I think that is everything to it. And I'm not going to put tasting notes in your. Will this be at the show? If there's any of it left, because it launched today, and we've got through about a fifth of it already. So if there's any, left, 100%. I'll try and save some to bring it along. And if not, I better bottle something else similar, I guess.
Well, I've had a nose and I've had a taste of this. I'm not going to say a word. So
no, I want to hear what folk. I don't want to put taste. I always hate.
You guys think?
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Thank you, Rob. Yes, I saw your order come through. Thank you very much for that. I'll get that. We'll be posting them all out on Monday, so hopefully you should have it Tuesday or Wednesday for anyone who's already ordered one on the website. I'm actually at home with my brother's over there, and I've got various family kicking around. So Andrew, do you want a sample of this?
I love it. Thank you.
Andrew, if anyone's interested, runs do you want to wave at the camera, Andrew?
Hello.
Andrew currently works for Crossbill, who are a gin distillery in the Barrowlands in Glasgow. So he's their head distiller, and the distiller.
We won't hold that against him.
No. If you're ever at a loose end in Glasgow, he runs a fantastic gin experience where you get to kind of make your own gin, and you each get a little still. It's great. So yeah, he's doing that. But yeah, I'll leave you to enjoy your beastie for a sec and give some thoughts on it. Slange.
Reminds me of creme brulee.
It is a very sweet nose.
Mm.
I'm going to start picking on people unless you shout up.
The ABV, Peter, is 58.8% on this one. So I was corrected the other day. I said it's cask strength, but I believe technically it's batch cask strength, because cask strength is just 1 cask, and this is 2. This is the 2 cask.
That doesn't feel like that at all.
No, it's a hefty ABV, isn't it?
Well, it's smoother than a baby's bum. That does not taste of that kind of ABV.
Yeah.
I was wondering who was going to be the first smooth one of the night. And you definitely won it there. You got in early doors.
You got to get in there. You got to get in there.
That's it. Now you've used up the smooth. Nobody else is allowed to use that the rest of the night now.
Balanced. Are we allowed to use that once, and that's it?
What about silky?
Filthy.
I'm
like
getting some vanilla.
Vanilla. Mm.
Yeah. No, that was supposed to be a joke, Carl, because everyone says that. I was playing.
I know. Everybody says vanilla.
But kind of toffee apple. Toffee apple.
Creme brulee is a good shout, actually, whoever said that first, because I actually think that is on the tasting notes on the back. So 10 points to Gryffindor or Hufflepuff, depending on what house you're in.
I think it's for me, creme brulee seems to be anything that has a little bit of grain in it. Like immediately, I just get this nose of like, I don't know what grain it's going to be, but as soon as I smell it, I'm like, I think this is going to have some sort of grain in it. And I was right, obviously. Sorry.
Yeah. Definitely.
So how about Mark Chapman? What do you think of this so far? Have you had a try of it yet?
It is lovely. I don't get a bit of the kind of spice like nutmeg on the nose a little bit. It's nice and sweet.
Yeah. I think if I was trying this blind, I would not have realized it was a blend. I would have. I think that the Deanston's having a bigger impact on it than maybe the fact that it's had that finish in the first fill PX as well is having a bigger hit on this than the grain is. That, I guess, what I'm getting out of this more.
No, I think that's a good shout, Carl. Yeah, it was a funny one because it was in we used a lot of sherry finishing casks for some of the for what a lot of our upcoming range we're releasing later in the year, and one of the ones that you're having tonight and this one, funnily enough, the PX, which we'd expect to be like the most active, is actually like the least active. So we had to keep it in there for a few months to give it some, whereas some of the other sherries, like we had some finos and amontillados and things, we're releasing Impala Cortados for stuff later this year. But yeah, the PX was the least active, so we did have to give the Deanston a good I think it's 4 months in at this point.
Right.
But yeah, I would agree. It's a funny one. You can feel the two distilleries kind of mingling. And when I tried it at first, I wasn't quite sure whether it tasted like a single malt or a single grain. It was a strange one.
I do love Deanston as well, I have to say.
It's lovely distillery, isn't it?
Yeah. So would anybody else like to jump in with their view on this? Is anybody not taken with it? Go on then, Steve. Your hand went straight up there.
I was messaging someone else in the group. I couldn't disagree, Carl, more with what you said about the Deanston over influencing the grain. I kind of get a lot of grain influence, and that I'm not a big grain fan, so it's just not my dram at all, unfortunately. I mean, the glass is nearly empty, but it wouldn't be a go-to on my shelf.
Yeah. All right. So if that was in the potential for the festival bottling, you wouldn't be voting for that one then.
Yeah, I'd be organising some vote rigging to make sure that one at least didn't win.
Fair enough.
There's definitely been precedent for that in the past.
What? Are you trying to cast aspersions that Newas is not Snow White perfect?
Whenever Steve Laidlaw is anywhere about, there's definitely going to be some rigging knocking about.
Simon, what do you think of it?
I think lemon's a good. There's some. I see some lemon kicking about in the chat, and I think we have actually got we've got some lemon meringue pie in the tasting notes as well. So, but that's just Andrew being flowery. But yeah, lemon generally.
Yeah.
Carl, I'm like Steve. I found the grain overpowering on the first taste.
Right.
And I'm not like him. I'm not a big grain fan, but I love Deanston, which is coming through a bit more latterly. But I've got a soft spot for Deanston and Leitchik because they're both run by a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Who's manager of both, so I'm a bit biased towards them.
Wow.
I'll just stick mine in as well there. I could also taste the grain, but I like grain, so I'm happy with it.
I know. I really like grains. Probably one of my go-tos as well if I have a whiskey. So yeah, I'm a bit biased.
But we do have a lot of grainiacs in the in US. There's no doubt about it, and myself included. I've switched on to them over probably the last 3 or 4 years. So I can understand, but I genuinely wasn't getting much grain from that initially. When I said it, obviously. Shall we? Anybody else want to dive in with their view on it? Shall we do thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down on this one? Should we do it? Yeah. Well, I'm a definite. Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, John, I might come to you. Oh, and Dave's sideways on this. Lee, you are as well. What's that? Oh, Ollie's definitely sideways on it as well. Bloody hell. So there's quite a few people who are kind of, it's okay, but not their thing. I'm guessing, is that fair to say? But there's a few thumbs up there as well. I don't think, other than Steve, there was only one thumbs down. Was that right? Tim, I saw the thumbs up. I saw that thumbs up.
I just realised that Cameron Brig, I've been pronouncing Cameron Bridge since I've ever.
No, Cameron Bridge is fine. It's just a colloquial thing, isn't it? Cameron Bridge is also fine. So don't worry, you're not on the wrong there. It's just Fifers and locals tend to call it Cameron Brig. But Cameron Bridge is fine. Don't worry.
Before we started, I was drinking this 24-year-old Cameron Bridge, and that's only 50.7. So it's a lot smoother than that, which I found quite spiky at first. But I thought it was a great drum. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Who would say that this, if they didn't know that it was the blend and the bonus dram, who would have said this might have been in the running for the festival bottling? Was there anybody who was very blown away by how good it was, or that it would be up there with them?
I really like it, and if that's the starting point for tonight, I think it set the bar high for me, and it just shows that Steve doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think we've all known that.
Oh, it's getting personal already. I told you it was going to be a contentious night tonight. Just wait till we get on the samples.
I'm going to put a message out to everyone on the Facebook group that I know and yous don't. I will control what wins. They'll all be there.
All right, Putin.
So I was going to say, see if Nuas gets hacked tonight. You know who's done it. Well, one of two people, I suppose.
So, Ian, I don't know if that was helpful in terms of.
No, that was great. No. I'm glad. I'm glad it was people generally enjoyed it. We're very happy with how it's come out, considering it's something that we've tried to do. That's that is something cask strength, 70 cl, and is quite big, and also not on the affordable end of the spectrum for a cask strength. Because a lot of single cask bottlings have been going up and up, and it's not quite single cask, but it's not far off because it's only a double cask. So, but no, that's been grand. Thank you for the feedback, and no, it's been a good launch day. So I was very happy to line it up with this and for the feedback as well. So no, cheers, guys.
Well, it was very good of you to throw this into the mix as well.
That's all right.
I think it's been a great opener. So thank you
no
very
worries.
much for that. Well,
That's
and
all right.
from here on in. Now,
I say bugger all because I have no information to give you at all.
I know this tasting is going to be rather weird. We're literally going to do number one now. See what you think. Obviously, you can shout out what ABV you think it might be, whether you have any clue what it actually is from a distillery perspective. They all are single distillery releases.
Yeah.
Not necessarily single malt. I'm just throwing that out there. So, let's crack on. So number one, if you want to dive into that one, if you haven't already.
Yeah. Do you want to give some tiny drums out? But yeah, no, I think, seconding what you said, Carl, I'll have bugger all to say generally. They're all single casks. They're not bottled, none of them are bottled yet. They are all Scotch. And that's about it. Like you said, there's a range of they're not all necessarily single malt, but yeah, a few of them have got some finishes, a few of them haven't. So I'll be very interested to hear what everyone thinks. And I quite like people shouting out distillery names to guess as well, because that's quite fun. So good luck.
Wow. The instant hit that I got off this was Werther's mince. It's like incredible.
You're so old.
I know.
I've got-
So we don't stand on any formalities. Jump in if you want to shout out what your immediate views are on this, just off the nose, and if you want to start diving into trying it.
Barley's rusks.
Crikey Moses, if this is the number one.
Yeah, we're just getting lots of like really nice buttery tastes, just like some of the old double hour bottlings that we've had before. Really, really delicious.
I think that might be the longest period of silence we've ever had.
That's what Becca said there about fudge, but not your sort of it's proper homemade fudge. You know, the stuff that you put like a block of butter into.
Yeah. I'm diving in, guys.
Shortcake, yeah. No, I like the butteriness. I've got a lot of bread and butter pudding going on. Feedback at this table over here.
I could literally smell that all night. It smells amazing, doesn't it?
It does.
I should say they're all cask strength as well, obviously.
I wish I smelled this good, but then when I go to bed in the night, I normally do. So
well, these Ian were sent directly to you from Octomurkty Bond. So there will be bits of cask in. I noticed even when I was decanting the amount of stuff that was floating around in the bottles. So this is genuinely straight from the cask samples. And I don't know about you guys, but this is what I love about whiskey is diving into a cask. You know, unmolested, nothing going on, no messing with it. It's just, this is lovely.
The only thing that makes it better is when you're actually in a warehouse doing it straight from the cask with a village.
Yeah.
unless it's cold, I've been to done a couple in a warehouse, and it's absolutely Baltic.
All right.
Whiskey one shot.
Any other comments? What's everybody thinking?
Yeah, we would quite happily have a bottle of that. It's pretty good.
Am I right in thinking we don't? Sorry, Ian, I know you're muted there. But am I right in thinking you don't have any information at the end of each what it is, or we're just going to choose it completely blind by the end of the night? Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I can give all the information on all of them after, so you know exactly what they were and you know all of the stats. But yeah, at the moment, yeah, we're gonna have nothing after each one. It will just be blank until after you've chosen, basically.
But
so there's
we are
no
a democracy. We are a democracy. That's the way Ian and I thought would be the best way of doing it, where you chose the festival bottling entirely on what you thought was the favorite from a taste perspective. If we're happy to be shot down, if you'd prefer to know a little bit of information about things like ABV or even the distillery, if you want, we're in your hands. This is not, you know, we're not going to dictate to you what you want to do out of the festival bottling choice. So you know, dive in if you want to do it differently.
One thing I think might help, and I love the idea and the concept of picking a whiskey purely based on taste. But if you were to go and pick something that was 5 times as expensive as something else,
right,
you may turn around and you may have chosen a different one based on that cost. So if you could give perhaps a range of where the cost, I'm not talking about distillery, but that might, I think that's an important factor sometimes in making a choice of a bottle that you might pick. We all may pick a bottle that's £250 that you never sell, because actually no one can really afford the 250 quid, for example.
That's it. Well, what I'll do is I'll comment on that. It's a very fair point. And whatever dram, that basically none of them are going to be any different price wise. But I'm going to make sure that whatever we pick tonight is affordable, and we can discuss it more after we've tried them all and picked one. But I'd be very keen to find out after you pick it, you know, because they're all of similar ages and similar values generally, to be honest. And I want to make something that's like an affordable festival bottling. You know, we're talking between the kind of 60 and 90 pound mark, something that, you know, to be discussed further after we've tried them all, but none of them are going to be like ridiculous. They're all of a very similar price range. So don't worry about that too much.
Yeah, Ian and I talked about this, and Ian confirmed that whatever you pick tonight is going to be roughly of a similar sort of price.
Correct.
So, So don't let price
don't worry about it.
Dictate which one it is going to be.
I think that's well done. That thanks very much for that, Ian. I think that's very transparent of you to say that, to be fair.
No worries at all.
So you can concentrate entirely on what you actually like the most.
And whichever one we pick, I promise you it won't break the bank. So, yeah.
And I believe, Ian, that what we'll do at the end of tonight is you have got the option where you can pre-order, I believe, and we can make sure that you've got a bottle at the festival to pick up.
Yeah, but yeah, we can do that. We don't, yeah, it'll just be very prehistoric. You know, I'll just take a list of names basically. I won't be. It's not like I'll be putting it on the website at any point because it's just going to be an exclusive for you guys. So yeah, but I can certainly take a list of names and make sure that whoever wants one will certainly get one.
Good stuff. Because last year there was a few of the bottles that did disappear pretty quickly. So you know, just saying.
One thing that is slightly different, I suppose, is different numbers of different casks. Obviously, have got a different amounts of bottles within them. So, but yeah, when I run through, none of them are too desperately small. I think they're all good festival runs, and some would be too much, to be honest. Some might have to part bottle it, to be honest, because it might just be too many for a festival. But yeah, we can run through that afterwards. Yeah, we'll see. It's a good point. We'll see.
If Dave's got anything to go by, he's going to buy the old op before we've even started. So we're all right.
Dave and Tim, they'll buy them all. Sorry, Tim will win the like a big chunk of the bottles, won't you, Tim?
Otherwise, I get bottle number 11. It's a guaranteed sale from me.
Has anybody tried any water yet? Oh, you're not at that stage yet.
Ooh. Anybody?
Yes. There's just literally a couple of drops. Didn't make any difference to me to the nose. Just still obviously getting the very buttery smells. I don't know how to describe it as giving a bit of a deeper finish with the water. Don't really change the taste too much, but just linger a bit more, which is a good thing.
Or a bit of kind of eucalyptus-y, mentally stuff with the water for me. But still really sweet. I really like this.
Mr. Casey, have you just joined?
Yeah, I've running late, so I'm just about to start on the blend.
No worries at all. If you want, you can go the same route that we've gone. So yeah, we did the blank bottle first, the blend. If you want to do that, or if you want to catch up with us, we're only just on number 1 at the minute, so the sample number 1. So it's up to you how you want to do it.
Is that the right order or the Carl order?
We definitely did the blend first,
right?
And we're doing number 1.
Right. I'll have a little sip of the blend just to see what it's like, and then I'll catch up with 1 in a second.
Good stuff. Okay. So any other comments on number 1? Anybody want to put in a guess as to what sort of ABV they think it might be? We're not going to confirm or deny. We're just
going to do a higher, lower than the last one, like.
52-ish, I would guess, something like that.
Maybe.
So I'm just going to throw this out there that if these are all predominantly 60 to 90 quid, my guess is there's going to be nothing massively old unless there's a grain whiskey, probably maybe 18 to 22-year-old. So I would be thinking that it's going to be high 50s, low 60s for virtually everything. Would be a guess, purely a guess.
That would be a logical approach.
I may be wrong.
All right, Mystic Meg.
Well, it's not Mystic Meg. It's just using cost as a basis for how old it might be, and therefore how much angel share you might lose as a result. Yeah. That's all that's based on.
Yeah. So, shall we move on to number 2? Because we can't really give anything else away. Do
you not want to do a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways on this?
Oh, I guess, yeah, we could do that if you fancy. Yeah. So thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. What are we thinking? Thumbs sideways, okay. Anybody not keen on it? Okay. Henry, what are you thinking? Because I can't see you. Obviously, you I know you're so handsome that you'd stun us all with your beauty. Which is why you're keeping yourself dark there. But did you like it, Henry, or? Yeah, he's staying quiet. Oh, thumbs up. Okay. Grand, thank you. Okay, so I think that was largely thumbs up, but there was the odd thumbs sideways, Steve. I saw. Okay. Right, so that's number 1. Shall we dive into number 2? Unless there's any other comments. I'll take that as a no. Oh, actually, Ian, what did everybody there think?
On this here, so yeah, it was thumbs up. We had 3 thumbs ups. They're all quite bad. You know, I've got my brother, Hannah, his girlfriend, and my dad. But you know, they're honest. They're honest.
Do they know what they are, or have you kept them in the dark as well? So they're doing it blind?
No, they don't. Oh, I don't know. They know if they look at the label when they're pouring it, but no, they didn't for the first one. I think Dad might have peeked at the second one. Yes, he peeked at the second one. But no, from now on, you're not going to peek, are you?
Okay.
No peeking. I promise.
Well, because they can vote as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can vote. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Right.
You have to join the new Ask group on Facebook, though.
I'm doing that now. He doesn't have to. He just has to come along to the indie festival.
You have to come to the festival, yeah. Well, Andrew will be there, and well, we think, yeah, and Hannah as well, because I can't do the fib stall by myself. So
good. So, sample number 2.
Completely different.
I'm with Ian. Sorry, I'm with Steve on this one. Doesn't have the cream that I would expect maybe from a grain, but it's got that kind of rawness.
Same note. I almost wish I didn't know what they were, but obviously I've had to know.
To be fair, Carl, when I was sending them down to you, I was gonna take the labels off and just leave the numbers on, but it was such a bollock to try and get those labels off. They were just causing such a mess. I just thought, bugger it. You can know.
I think Cameron was purposely making sure that those labels would take a
staying on. Yeah, exactly. I would have had to take them to the sink, I think, to get them off.
Now, I'm gonna cheat and give my opinion that I think the nose on this is nicer than even number 1, and I love number 1.
I think that's madness, Carol, but
well,
Lee? Oh, Lee, did you say something there?
Yeah.
I was just saying, I think that's madness, Carol, but I absolutely loved the nose on number 1. So I was almost ashamed to drink number 1 because I was so much enjoying the nose on it, to be fair.
Yeah.
But this one is nice as well. But
you think number 1's still pipping it? In fact, I'm going to go back to number 1 because I kept a little bit left.
Yeah, I've done that. I'm going to go through and come back to them, I think.
No, I'm going to stick to what I said. I think number 2 for me has got the nicer nose.
I think number 2's got like a more complex nose to it, I would say, than number 1. but I think I prefer the nose on number one more.
Right. Any other comments on the nose so far, or are you diving into trying it? I think I'm going to jump in. See you on the other side. Ooh, I'm finding that a bit spikier than the first one. The ABV is hitting me a bit more. Come on, guys, you can't be this spellbound.
You don't remember doing the blind tasting before, though, Carl? It was this quiet.
True.
Because no one's got anything to compare it to. It's very quiet when it's.
It's a lot harder this way, isn't it? To actually kind of get your head round stuff.
I don't think it is. I think people are afraid. I know it sounds silly. Not afraid is the wrong word, but people don't want to look like idiots by making a comment about something and being massively wrong.
They
Steve,
couldn't
myself,
possibly
and a
be
few
more
others are
idiot
very
than you.
happy.
Yeah.
They
Well,
couldn't
I
possibly
think
be more
Steve,
idiot.
Steve, myself, and a few others don't really care about being wrong because we perpetually live our lives when we're wrong. So
If
Everybody else must be single then.
If it isn't a grain, I'm going to look a bit silly.
I said, mate, I was with you on it.
Yeah, at a risk of making myself sound like an idiot, I would agree. I think it's a grain. I don't feel it's got a lot of body to it. I feel it's a bit thin. I get an overwhelming taste of something medicinal, germaline. Not so much on the nose, but certainly on the finish. And I've added a bit of water to it, and it makes it even stronger.
Just as a complete aside, John, thanks very much for the bottles, mate.
You're welcome. Hope you like it.
Is that germaline or eucalyptus? Germaline's not something I normally associate with peated whiskey. Maybe
I got eucalyptus on the first one. You know, eucalyptus and talk menthol. Where this is quite different to me. To me, it is more medicinal, and as I say, germaline's the only thing it pops into my head.
Andrew Rawlins, you're looking very you're looking deep in that glass there. What are you thinking?
I think number one certainly edges it for me, but yeah, I didn't really kind of get the kind of phenolic kind of thing that you were hinting at, John. But it's just me. But yeah, I think number one edges it for me. It seems much smoother. Seems a little bit raw is probably the wrong word, but that kind of the alcohol comes through a little bit more in this compared to number one.
Is it? I'm guessing that it's quite hot when you've drunk it. You can feel that you've drunk it, so it's obviously a slightly higher percentage, and maybe it's not as old as it should be for a grain. Obviously, grain is better when it's left for longer in a cask. Maybe the cask is not as active as it maybe could be or should be, or maybe it's just needed a bit more time. But it's just the nose is great. I prefer the nose on number two, but I prefer the taste of number one definitely so far.
I would agree with you, Oliver, that I love the nose on two more than number one, but probably for me, number one's pipping it for me. But just to kind of cheat a little, I'm going to just dispel that this one is actually a lower ABV than the first one. So it's amazing what whiskey can do to your brain.
Well, if I can just jump in for a second, I know it's Andrew Rawlins' first tasting, but we don't welcome those sensible, kind of considered comments. We just need controversial, annoying things. We can't be having it. So, Andrew, you need to get used to the group. That's sensible.
Read the room.
Sorry.
Is this like how you find sulfur and everything, Steve?
Yeah. You've got to have a polarized opinion. It's not important to be right. You've just got to cause controversy.
Yeah, just important to be noisy. I like it. Yeah, I swear that this smells like meat, but I think that might be something to do with what I cooked not that long ago. So, which tells me that it doesn't have a very strong nose, because I think I'm actually smelling the food from my own mustache, basically. Those of us with beards know what I'm talking about.
Always going to keep some for later.
Without getting too philosophical, it's amazing how just three products, if you will, water, grain, and yeast, can produce such massive results. I appreciate wood has such a massive influence, but it's I shouldn't just say, as in, I shouldn't, if there are grains in here, I shouldn't say necessarily barley, but you know what I mean. It's amazing how you can get such differences in something that really should be so very, very similar.
Yeah.
And there we go, Steve. After that, I'll start getting back to my normal fare now, mate. Don't you worry.
So, Becca, are you liking this one? Becca and Ollie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I only started with that one in terms of tasting it. So I think I'm agree with you. I think I really like the nose, and the palate is I less like. I think I prefer the palate on number one as well. But I really love the nose on this one.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of. There's basically loads of lemon, but on the palate it's got like a green grassy herbal thing on the finish rather than sweetness, and so I think that's what perhaps I'm not as enjoying as much as on number one, but I love the nose.
It's interesting. So Becca's poured hers out, I don't know, an hour ago, and I've only just poured mine out, and the difference on the nose between the two is phenomenal.
I actually thought he put the wrong drams in his glass because anything like my one, didn't it?
It was completely closed.
Yeah.
There was really hardly anything to it. There's a bit of lemon in the background, but not much. Whereas now I've sort of been sitting here, hugging my glass, gently caressing it. It's warmed up a bit, and it's opened up again. Opened up.
So just to clarify, because I didn't quite catch which one was the one that you poured out a lot earlier. Is that giving you a better sort of idea of the nose, or is it the one that you've just freshly poured out that's giving you
the one a while ago?
All right.
The one because I poured mine out about an hour ago, wasn't it? An hour before the tasting started.
Well, I think a bunch of us do actually kind of recognize what you're saying on that, and that's one of the reasons why I think a few do pour out their drams sort of early on before the session, because I think you do generally get a little bit more from the nose once they've been decanted for a little while. So interesting.
Yeah. The risk is if I do that, she'll knock my glasses over and not hers.
Very true.
Fair enough. I think this one's getting slightly better as I'm drinking it. Maybe that's just being closer to being pished.
I was just thinking the exact same thing there, Carol, actually. It was really growing on me as time goes by.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's so different to number one. It's a bit of a smack in the face.
Yeah.
And I think that the more you kind of come back to it, the less of a smack in the face it is. Because I absolutely agree with you, Carl. I was thinking just a few minutes ago, actually, the more I try it, the less dislike is the wrong word, but in comparison to the first, it's beginning to kind of, edge its way back up towards.
Yeah. Grow on you a bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
especially with a little bit of water as well. The kind of almost kind of licorice / imps kind of like vibe to it, but also kind of it's got a wee bit of a feel. Now it's just completely out there, a little bit like Balmenic, something like that.
Oh, okay. Any other comments
between number one and number two? I'm slightly consoled by the fact that even if we don't pick either of them for the festival bottling, they're possible future outturns from. So I'm still getting my hands on them later.
They are beautiful. I mean, they're both of them have been damn fine. I'd be quite happy to have them as a festival bottling, both of them so far. I mean, holy moly. And we haven't even got on number 4 yet, which is one of the ones that Steve's got his 10 quid winning bet on.
But we haven't actually heard anything from Stuart. He's been very quiet tonight. Come on, Stuart. Come on.
That's because usually when he speaks, we can't understand him.
Steady, steady,
Had to get in there. On that note, Stuart, are you gonna do a riposte?
I avoid it because I knew Steve he couldn't help himself. You know, like 3 years in, he still thinks it's hilarious. So but yeah, it's good. But yeah, no, I liked 1 and 2. Probably prefer 2 actually, which I didn't think I would prefer when I first tried it, but it really has grown on me the longer you can leave it. So yeah, really like number 2. I'm not sure it is a grain. I think somebody said things like a refill bourbon, which I agree with. So yeah.
Okay. That was a very considered, very diplomatic kind of.
I've been working on my speech. I've been trying my hardest, so just to try and fit in a little bit. So it's fine.
You're just getting the practice in ready for when you come down to the festival. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I'll be full Fife at the festival. Like
good for Fife.
Good luck with that. So
I was going to say if you can nail Purple Burger along, I'll be impressed.
Good stuff. Shall we do the old thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down on that one then? All right, okay. Ooh, Andrew, right, okay, sideways, and Andy Stevenson there, sideways, okay. Right, okay. Simon, I missed yours. What was yours? Were you a thumbs up or?
I don't think also for.
Yeah, I prefer 2 to 1.
All right.
I won't spoil it because I've already been to 3. I'm just about to start on 4.
Oh, well done.
I'd say just quaff 4 or 5, one after the other, and so I'm not drinking them all. I'm just having a little sample of each, so I don't corrupt everything. I can actually compare realistically when I get to the end. Then I'll go back and get drunk.
Excellent. Not that we condone getting drunk, of course. It's drink sensibly. That's the official line. But yeah, okay.
It was till last night, and then I got horribly drunk. On a certain smoky 10 from a certain distillery.
I'm guessing what it might have been.
Might just
have been. Yeah. So shall we dive in? Shall we try and catch up with Simon?
So you just drink.
Should we try and catch up with Simon and go with sample number 3?
I'm on 4. I'll see what I think about Steve's bet.
I'm no longer on mute.
I think it's Ardmore.
Do you know?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Ian. What was the votes back at base?
Oh, for number 2, we had 2 thumbs up and 1 thumb sideways.
All right. Okay. What was the view on the thumb sideways?
Hannah?
I just didn't like it as much as the first one.
Didn't like it as much as the first one.
Okay.
Concise. To the point.
Yeah. Would you have bought a bottle?
Would you have bought a bottle?
Potentially.
Potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, even with a sideways. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, she's obviously a footballer or something who's got lots of money to buy sideways.
No.
Potentially.
So I think three bucks the trend. 3 for me. I've had it in the glass for a long time now. It doesn't give tons, but I love how it. As soon as I stop, I love the mouthfeel. I love the taste.
Yeah.
It goes the other way for me, not so.
Yeah, with the Dave, I was wondering whether I'd suddenly lost all sense of smell because I was getting very little on the nose from this one.
I was the same.
Yeah, mate,
couldn't get much from it.
Neil, I'm with you. There's bugger all on the nose. I think bugger all, and like Becca, I pour mine out. Mine were poured out 7:20. It's now almost 8:30. It's an hour, just over. Still sod all, but
I think
much,
the
much
nose is
better.
very subtle.
So I was getting a fair bit from that kind of cinder toffee, ginger cakey sort of feel from it. I like that.
I'm with you there. It must be the first name. Exactly.
Could well be.
Exactly what I was about to say.
There's a
This one is
bromance
like
we're
butterscotch
developing.
and caramel. It's beautiful. I like that.
What's Becca saying about the nose?
What's
'Cause
the
typically,
canned caramel, dulce de leche, that sort of
right
sweet stuff? Yeah.
Becca?
No, I'm with you. I thought the nose was really, really closed when I first smelt it about just before the tasting started. So they'd been aired for an hour basically, but with a watch glass on. And I thought I could smell onion on it. I think I'm going mad. I have not cooked with onion, by the way, in the house. So, yeah.
Space Raiders pickled onion, by any chance?
No.
Now I'm getting loads off that nose now, but initially it did feel quite closed, but now I'm getting loads off it.
You did.
Likewise,
He's right,
I've
didn't
had
you,
it
Carl?
for a while, but I've been warming it a little bit between my hands, and that's opened it up on the nose.
Yeah.
This is where we find out that Carl's poured a different order for everybody on the tasting.
Oh, that was uncalled for.
I think someone mentioned you using these really complex things called numbers again instead of little squiggles and stuff.
Yeah, that was me.
You mean the cross that's the kiss?
Yes, absolutely. When you put plus signs and multiply signs as well.
The face that's
It's
got
the
no
cross.
face.
The last tasting I joined where we had numbers, it wasn't even in numerical order, which just offended me.
I think you need to do them in prime numbers going forwards, Carl.
Let's just get back to the tasting, shall we?
Leave the bug high alone.
To be fair, Andrew, that's just going to get us 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7, mate. So we're not getting that. Sadly,
I would say that's a fairly standard order, isn't it, for Carl?
we could do cubes. I mean, that'll get us a bit further.
So I reckon this is whatever it is. It's a first filled bourbon cask. Really strong.
Yeah, on the nose for me, it was bourbon as well.
It's
In my opinion.
almost got that sort of bubblegum aspect when you first taste it. I love it. I'm bourbon casks are what I'm all about. It's like
There's something there in it that I can't quite recognise though. I think it is a bourbon cask, and then I'm not sure if it's been finished in something I can't quite recognise though.
I think it's a
I really
refill.
like this one as well.
I think it's a refill bourbon.
I thought the
If I look at
second
the
one's a refill bourbon. I think this one's a bit stronger. But
No, look at the two colours. Again, I'm going to use this was number 2. This is number 3.
Yeah.
I reckon it's a refill bourbon.
So maybe for longer.
What?
I definitely
I'm still going.
But
I'm still going with Steve on number 2. Number 2's a grain. Number 3, I reckon, is refill bourbon. I'll be controversial.
I'm going to go for malt on number 2, and I'll die on that hill, and I'll probably will die on that hill as well.
Do you know what I'd like? I really want number 4 to be the grain because it's so dark, and then people get like a creamy sherry bomb that they don't quite get, and it doesn't get the fix that Steve's going for. Which, by the way, I think he's right. I think it will win just because of the colour.
We'll see. We'll see. Stop trying to load this. Load the voting.
We'll see who's the whiskey races. So.
Is there like some sort of book running on this in the background that I'm not aware of?
There might be.
So I'm just going to ask Ian: are you not desperate? Because I feel like I am. I'm curious what the vote might be if there was just these three? Before we even touch on 4.
Yeah, we could do.
So
We could do yeah, you can if you want. If you out of interest, you could do a show of hands. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's.
I'm liking all the comments, by the way. Like there's there's there's
So
some stuff is bob on, some stuff is miles off, and it's really fun. I like it.
That sounds like half the course.
So Ian, you
Standard
get
for a
you
slot,
get the
really,
votes.
isn't
You get the votes back at base for you, and can you let's see how best to do this. Who would vote for number 1 as the festival bottling so far out of the 3 that we've tried so far? Okay, so we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that 8? Am I getting that right? 1, 2, 3.
Can I ask a question about this? Is like,
Yeah.
are we voting for the one that we think that most people will like, or the one that we want?
No, just the one you like.
Just you.
Just
right,
you.
okay.
Stuff everybody else.
Andrew Casey, you going in for Labour Parliament there, Sunshine? Good way. Keep the socialism.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, no, I was actually, it was the opposite of that, Peter. I was thinking the one that would basically sell in droves and basically make the most money.
No, we're not interested in money. Ian isn't. He's interested in what would be your favourite. Full stop. So did we have that right? Did I count right? Is there 7?
You said 8 at one point.
Or is there potentially 8?
There's definitely 8.
Was there 8? Okay. Ian, what was
Hang on,
floating there?
hang on. Bagley's bloody well fixing it here. I heard 2 at one point. It's true, I heard 2. Because
I didn't expect to have to do polling sort of,
Please don't get on your poll, Sunshine. We like you, Carl, but we don't need to see your naked ass.
Yeah. Peter,
So there's 7 or 8.
Ticker tape running there where it's like the Sting. There's like the whole bookie office on the other side of the camera.
I know we've got multiple people sharing a single camera, but is it worth using the sort of hands up functionality? Just make it a little bit easier to count.
Okay, that would probably be a better way. Yes. Okay. So out of it again, number 1, who would vote for number 1 as the festival bottling? If you use the old hands up or the thumbs up.
Where do
So
you get
1,
the hands
2, 3, 4.
Hang on. I'm
5.
a hands up.
All right, so 6.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, so we've got 8 there. And Ian, did you have any votes at your end?
We've got none in this household. No.
All right, okay, so 8. So number 2, who would vote for number 2 as the festival bottling? Ooh.
Ollie.
Stuart.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Ollie's got
Not
his
sure
hand
what
up.
Andy is.
I'm angry and hands up, apparently.
Ollie. So 1, 2. Crikey, we have 2. Is that right?
I think we've got. Hang on. Let me put my hand up. We'll put 1 hand up here.
Okay, so 1 hand there. So 3 for that one. Okay. And number 3, who would vote for that one?
Dave's taken the Luddite approach. Nice.
So hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh.
And we've got 3 here. 2, sorry, 2 here. Oh no,
2.
I'm
Okay, so 11.
here. We've got 3 here. 13. Sorry, 12.
12.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So interesting.
Hang on, Steve. Which way did you vote? Did you vote number 3?
Yes, number 3. Yeah.
I need to change my vote. He and I never agree on anything.
Dave, come to number 1, Sunshine. You know you want to. Come on.
Okay, so
You know,
that's
also
interesting.
With number 3, what's nice is that you smell the nose, okay, and at first you really can't smell anything. It's so closed, the nose, and so when you actually taste the palate, it's a really nice surprise. It surprises you, right? So then it's memorable. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So I really like that, and there's this really lovely macadamia nuts maybe bordering on coconut and things sort of running through that, which I quite enjoyed. And then after tasting it, which is what something you said, Carl, is after tasting it, you can then smell a bit more on the nose.
So, Becca, have you got a bet on this one? Have you?
No, well, I don't know. Well, you see, I have nosed all of them, and I have to say the last one has an absolutely fascinating nose.
Oh,
so I'm going to leave it like that. I will put money on the fact that Steve will not like the nose.
Right. Okay. So that was interesting. Thanks, guys. Shall we dive into number 4?
I reckon we'll get to the end of this and there'll be like 92 votes. There's only 35 people on the call.
So number 4. I reckon there might be a fight on this one.
Tequila finish this one, isn't it? Or maybe Muscatel.
Oh.
Any sulfur on this, Steve?
I didn't get any on the nose, but there's a little bit on the palate. But it's not enough to put me off. It's a decent
I
time.
go into distilleries with a small Steve in a cage looking for sulfur.
No, I do like this one. And almost flying in the face of. I was worried that everyone would vote on colour, but so far I think I'm a little bit ahead. I really like this one.
I think it would be interesting to do it with like coloured glasses, so you can't see the colour of the whiskey.
Yeah.
See if that made any difference.
What, like a blackout glass kind of thing?
Yeah. I'm not a sherry bomb, so as soon as I picked the samples up from Carl, I'm going, okay, I think I know which one I'm going to like. So already in your head, it's like. But,
Next blind tasting, Carl, we all have to wear blindfolds.
2024, we'll do 2024. We'll do that one.
It's funny when I picked them up from Carl, he asked us to wear a blindfold. I'm not sure what it was all about.
Well, you've seen his whiskey dungeon, haven't you?
I have had an invite to the dungeon.
Ian, can we ask a question? Maybe ask one question about the drams. Any of these finishes?
Yeah, so I think some may be and some may not be. So you got a combination going on here.
Thank you.
And some may be double finishes.
Ooh, tricksy.
And by some, that means at least one is double finished.
So when you say
not answering the question there.
So when you're saying these are single casks, you're referring to a single cask as liquid that has stayed together for its whole life.
Yeah, liquid that's it's not stayed together for its whole life, correct? And it's just been
not as in like classic form of single cask as opposed to slightly.
I guess if you mean a classic form of single cask that's never been moved, no. Some of them have been finished off at different things, and then re-racked once or twice.
Who would typically describe themselves as anti-big sherry bomb? So we've got at least 5 or 6 people there. And are you liking this so far? I'm curious for those guys who describe themselves as anti. Because I guess this isn't probably what I would describe as a full-on sherry bomb as such, but it's pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've tasted all 5, and I've marked this the lowest.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a sherry bomb person. There are some sherry bombs I like the 5+105. I think is a fantastic whiskey. But this, to me, Steve's going to lose his bet. He has by me by a long way. I wouldn't even put an each way on that.
Right. Andy, were you going to say something, Andy Casey?
Yeah, it's for me, I can't taste the whiskey for the sherry in this one. And that's not a bad thing. It's just I love sherry when I start off drinking whiskey, but I've just like swung away from it.
Right.
I think the first one, I guess, is sherry finished, maybe. And that's much more my level of sherry. Watch it turn out to be something like, I don't know, bloody Calvados or something like that. But yeah, the first one is much more my level of sort of finishing than a full sherry maturation.
And I'm trying to remember, Andy, did you vote number 1 as your favorite?
No, I voted number 2, which I
Right.
think is a first fill bourbon.
Right.
But yeah, there's no sulfur in it. You know, Steve isn't alone on that one. It is nice in that respect. That I'm quite sensitive to sulfur as well, which is part of the reason why I think I don't like sherry.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't not like it, but I sometimes feel with sherry matured stuff is why wouldn't I just drink sherry basically, which I do like as well.
I'm loving the kind of herbal notes, as kind of Becca points out, but it's that kind of old, kind of like 90s, 80s, 90s kind of old school kind of herbal sweets you used to get from like the pharmacy and the kind of like sweet shops that, and just lovely.
I'm not old enough to try those.
Oh, look at your face! Come on now.
Actually, now you mentioned that, reminds me of Army and Navy. Do you remember those sweets?
Yes.
Maybe the same thing. Maybe the same thing.
Army and Navy.
I think Henry and I might have been like separated at birth because I get milk chocolate on that as well. And he was right on the last one too.
Oh, another bromance developing there.
For someone who doesn't like sherry bombs these days, it's not a bad dram.
No, yeah, I
it's
agree with
something
you.
I'd happily kind of reach towards, no problems. Would I buy it based on the colour? Absolutely, categorically not. If I got to try a sample of it and it was a reasonable price, which by the sounds of it, they're all within a kind of range, then yeah, sure, I'd probably buy a bottle, open it, and I'd be quite happy with it. Is it my dram so far? And I'm not trying to influence anyone else. No, because it doesn't kind of, I think a lot of people these days buy with their eyes and they expect a lot from this, but this isn't your classic sherry bomb. And that's nice.
Well, to be fair, I'm a pretty basic kind of guy, and I would have bought this with my eyes, but I'm still looking. If I was to buy a whiskey on my nose, I'd buy 3 so far. It's, if you go back to it, if you've got any still in your glass, the nose on 3 for me it's just stunning. But I have to say, I am enjoying this, and I would tend to go with sherry.
I'm with you on that one, Carl.
I would just far to say it almost has a very similar kind of feel to the Cut Your Wolf Loose, the on a sawmill that I know Tim brought up to your festival thing.
That was amazing, that Williamson.
Yeah, but it's got that kind of feel to it where, I mean, for me, kind of, I hate Laphroaig generally, or I generally don't like Laphroaig. On a Sawmill was a game changer because it showed that you can actually think. Now with that, it's almost like that. It's almost like it's taking something that a lot of people don't, either polarizes people and you'll go, yeah, I either like or dislike, and kind of changes it a little bit. So the dynamics have changed. So rather than just like massive Christmas cake, massive toffee, massive whatever, it's kind of got those herbal notes and stuff like that, which are really interesting.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting dram.
But Peter, whilst obviously Laphroaig might be slightly close to my heart, given
I know.
No. So have you tried? So I'm only asking. Have you tried some older Laphroaig?
Yeah, I was going to say I caveat that with the Laphroaig 18 is beautiful, but it doesn't feel like Laphroaig because it's not. I'm not licking plasters.
So 18 years old, Laphroaig typically starts getting a lot softer, and the older it becomes, the less. I've been very, very lucky to have Laphroaig straight from the stills, and I swear to God, I will swear on anything you want to swear on. You would never in a million years think it was Laphroaig. It's sweet, it's glorious, you could drink it by itself.
Yeah.
I would actually buy a bottle of it to drink by because it's so sweet and floral and gorgeous. And then I completely agree. The iodine kind of takes over, in its early life, but it tastes nothing like that when it's really young, straight off the still, and it tastes nothing like that when it's 18 years plus older. I'll see you at when I see you at
The
festival, I'll
Yep.
bring you some 32 or 35-year-olds and give that a bang.
Hang on a minute.
Single
Hang on. You better bring a big bottle of it.
Hey, look here, Carly boy. You've already nicked some 25-year-old from a shop. You need to calm yourself down. We all know about your little escapades.
Hey, if
Costco boy.
Costco want to send me a 25 instead of an 18, I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, you're very lucky you ended up with that, to be fair,
Yeah.
Carl, because I ordered it for
I
you.
was, yeah, that was one of the best purchases I made for a while. Ian,
If I'd ordered that to be delivered to me and then send it to you, you'd have never have got it, mate.
Yeah, fair enough. So Ian, we're curious, what do you guys think back at base?
Have we got, what are we thinking of this one?
Yeah, we're loving it. I like it. It's nice and subtle.
We're generally a thumbs up, but I think we're similar to you guys in that it's not quite the sherry bomb that you expect from the color of it. It's a little bit more complicated than that. I quite like this one in a different, because I like a big sherry bomb, but it's a bit different. I get a lot of amaretto biscuity, the kind of thing that you get inside of a cup of tea or coffee, amaretti biscuit type stuff off it. It's a very long finish, but yeah, it's interesting.
I'm just.
So I think we've got. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you go on. I'm done.
I was just going to say, I think Steve's bet might be on dodgy ground. Yeah, based on.
I think it's a toss up generally.
Yeah. I'm definitely don't. I don't think he's onto a definite winner. So sorry. Anyway, Ian, what were you going to carry on and say?
No. That was basically it. No, I was probably just paraphrasing myself again. So no, I would totally agree with you. I think it's I think there's it's up in the air, this one for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a fight on, definitely, because well, shall we go on to dram number? Well, actually, we didn't do the thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. So shall we do that for this one? What are we thinking? Mark, straight in with a thumbs up. You're loving this one, aren't you, Mark? What was your view on this?
It's getting a lot off the nose, a massive amount off the nose. I do actually prefer number one.
All right.
But this is lovely. I do like kind of sherry bombs, not too sherry, but
yeah.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, I missed what can we do that again? Thumbs up, thumbs side, because I got immediately distracted there. Right, okay. Ooh, Rob sideways, so's Andrew Casey, Neil. Wow, there's a few people who are not so sure on
I think
this.
that's the first sherry finish I've not enjoyed.
Wow. Okay.
You know what? I reckon that's because if people hadn't seen the color of it, they probably wouldn't have expected a sherry bomb. But now they've tasted it, or now they've seen the color, they're expecting something, and those who perhaps really like the sherry bombs are a bit disappointed, because both Steve and I are kind of, this is actually a really pretty good sherry dram, versus those who love sherry go, this isn't quite that bomb that I really thought it would be with my eyes. I don't know.
That's it on the nose, Dave. Exactly it. It didn't deliver what it looked like it would for me.
And Neil, do you tend to go with sherry bombs? Is that one of your?
I don't tend to go for them, but if I get one, I'll love a good sherry bomb. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't think that this is necessarily what you would have expected, yeah?
No, yeah.
And if we're talking about buying on colour, I mean, Ian will recognise that.
Yeah. That's the one we had in the tasting, wasn't it?
It might be, or it might not be. That might be the Ardmore, or it could be the Brakla.
Yes, Brakla.
Is the Brakla? Yes, Brakla was the one we had in the tasting. Yeah, and then the Ardmore was the one we didn't. Weirdly, they're both very extreme wine bombs, but yeah, I find that the peat works a lot better with the red wine.
Yeah,
as I found with most red wine finishes, to be honest.
Okay, right. So that definitely.
Ian, can I ask a question?
Sorry, go on.
Obviously, we can all move on to Dram 5. Sorry, Carl, I'm not trying to do your job for you.
No.
But Ian, one of the questions I have for you, there's 1,000,001 whiskey cask brokers out there that a cask has been sold on 20 times before someone kind of gets hold of it. Are you kind of in that chain, if you will, of buying from brokers, or do you also have some relationships direct with the distilleries themselves, and so therefore you kind of get a bit more of a choice, if you will, of the casks, so there are a number you get to taste? 'Cause I know a lot get bought blind.
It's a combination, kind of, and we've kind of had to learn as we go as well, in terms of, you know, when we started out, we were probably buying a bit higher up the chain, and then as we've gone on, obviously, and you know, the best thing about buying further down the chain as well is that it's cheaper because it's going through less layers, so you're getting the cask at a better value. But it's a funny one because some of the more expensive, you would say, brokers that we sometimes use are one of the only ones that you can actually get samples from as a broker, whereas some of the cheaper brokers you can't. And then obviously, yeah, like you say, the distilleries are the best ones to have the direct relationships with. And I think we've got 2 or 3 that we've bought direct from distilleries. And yeah, the more relationships we can build up with the distilleries direct and go and visit them and sample the casks, the better. So yeah, it's a bit of a combination tasting tonight. Some of them have been bought blind. And then some of them, because they've been bought blind, have needed a bit of TLC because they've not been quite what we wanted when we got them. And yeah, and some of them we were happy with how they came, and some have come direct from distilleries. So yeah, no, it's been a learning curve, but it's a very good question for sure.
Okay. Just to follow on, can I ask a question? I was just wondering, does that become easier with age of the company, I guess, as people start to realize you're turning out good whiskey? Does it become easier for them to sell you casks?
I suppose, hopefully, yeah. We're still very young, but yeah, I'd like to think that as we kind of release more whiskey in a kind of serious manner, and that it's not crap, or you know, and we're doing it properly, and we're not, you know, I guess distilleries learn that we're not buggering around with their whiskey and messing it up, and you know, so yeah, I guess that'd be one of the main concerns. But no, yeah, I think it would get. I think hopefully the more established you are as a company, the more direct distilleries you'd be able to deal with. But obviously, it's quite difficult when you've got the bigger company, you know, the bigger massive conglomerate, your Diageos and stuff like that, where you know, it's pretty much, well, we haven't had any luck getting in direct with any of them.
Parcels. You have to buy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing of being a tiny independent bottler as well. When you've got your Cadenheads and you've got your Gordon and MacPhails, you know, they can buy huge parcels of casks and get them for a much cheaper price. And obviously, brokers can afford to buy huge parcels as well, whereas some distilleries might not be willing to part with just the 1 or 2. But yeah, no, hopefully, fingers crossed that the longer we're around, the more we can deal with directly. It's only a matter of going on more distillery tours and making friends with them, I suppose.
Yeah. On that note, Ian, what's your kind of, how many casks do you have, if you don't mind? Or give us a rough idea.
Yeah. We haven't got reams of them. We've got like, so we've got 4. To give you an idea, we've got 4 coming out later in the year for our next Copper and Oak series. They'll also form our permutation series. We've got these 5 unallocated. So that's about, you know, that's 9. We've got we're doing 2 other festival bottlings this year. I'd say we've probably got about 20. So not reams of them. But around 20 that are potentially just about of age or ready to go. And then we've got quite a few, maybe 7 or 8, 9 casks of new make spirit, you know, that we've laid down in some of our own, well, some that have come in casks and some that we've re-racked into some of our own casks and stuff like that. But yeah, about thereabouts, 20 ready to go, and maybe 8, 9 new make.
Thanks for that, Ian.
Glad to hear the next series is 4 bottles, not 8, because if you kept doing 8 bottle series, I was going to be bankrupt.
Yeah, no, it's it was when we started off, Aidan was adamant that we had to do at least 8. He wanted it to be 10. So he was adamant that we had to do at least 8 to be taken seriously, and I can tell you that it's not going to be you know, nice as it was to do a big series, when it's just me doing it, you know, it's a lot to manage and it's a lot to try and sell, and it's just too much. So no, we'll definitely be doing 4 in the next Copper and Oak and permutations. And they'll be quite good value as well, actually, comparatively to compared to Copper and Oak 1 and Permutations 1. They'll all be kicking around the kind of 70, 80 pound mark, apart from one which will be a little bit more, but that's a bit more special.
Can I ask a question where the last missing bottle of Permutations?
Yeah, the Stowisha. Yeah, that's still that one is still it's still I'm potentially gonna get that finished and bottled next month, but it might be the month after. What happened with that one is it was in a sister. It was in one of these. We finished the Deanston Permutations in a PX brandy cask, and that was our most popular one that we've done by far. That one sold out quite fast. And then the Stowisha was in another PX brandy hogshead. But unfortunately, that one just kind of, because they're really old casks, they've been in the Bottega system for about 50 years. This one disintegrated basically with the whiskey in it, unfortunately. So there was basically, when it came to bottling it, there was just too many solids to get it through the bottling line. So anyway, me and Cameron have hatched a plan, and we've got a kind of straining / gravity fed cone system where we're basically going to bottle as much of it as we possibly can. So that'll probably, we'll be remedying that in the next 2 or 3 months probably. And hopefully it'll be a bloody good one, because the PX brandy Deanston was fantastic. They're really good casks if they can, stay in one piece.
It sounds delicious. So number 5, is everybody starting to nose it? What's everybody thinking? I'm really liking this one.
Dad looking at his empty glass.
Silence.
Delicious.
It's full on Elastoplast factory floor sipping this, isn't it?
I don't
A
know.
lot of that.
Go to an Elastoplast factory after smelling that, I've got to say.
I've never been in a Elastoplast factory to know what they smell like, to be honest.
Well, now you know.
I did go on a bit of a journey with this one, so some of my notes are a bit out there.
Oh, share away. Come on, Becca, what's your notes?
Yeah, so this is when I first poured it. There was this big like bandages Elastoplast hit that definitely happened first of all, but then I got like sorry for these these nosy notes, like cow dung, like a ride, like horse stables, wet hay and straw, and then after quite a while, probably an hour and a half, it's definitely more antiseptic Elastoplast bandages, that sort of smell. But also there's like this umami note in the background, like a smoked ham, and there's like hints of maybe like something like green apple or something in the background as well, and a flower, but I can't figure out what flower. so yeah, I love this. I think this is my favorite. I'm going to put it out there, this is my favorite dram.
Oh,
good job you said nose in the middle of there, because I was going to clarify and then ask how the hell you know what cow dung tastes like.
Oh, no, nose.
I'd love to see those on a bottle as well. That's the description.
I'm curious, Alan, have you tried this yet?
Yes.
And?
You know what my answer is going to be. It's not for me. Having said that, it kind of backs up what you said when I said, is there any peat in the lineup? And you said, yes, but not kind of full on Isla peat. So I get it's more subtle than some of the really smoky, heavy Lefroy that I couldn't even have a sip of. I will finish this, and it'll be the one that I've least enjoyed, but it's not poured down the sink horrible, which is.
That's not bad for you, Alan.
I know it is. It's not. It's okay. But it's nowhere near being. It'll be the last on my list, but that's just me.
You like a bit of controversy, yes? So I'll just put it out there. This is going to be my vote.
Right. I have a feeling this one might be splitting the room a little.
Yeah.
But I suspect, Alan, and don't take this the wrong way, but you might be the exception to an extent on this one. I have a suspicion that this is going to win some favour here. I'm just guessing. Anybody not keen on this alongside Alan? Maybe
Not
you
really.
are the exception, Alan.
No. I mean,
That's
to be
fine.
honest, it's not totally my bag. I mean,
Yeah.
normally when I say Burgundian filth, it has that filth of silage, cow dung, like farmyardy stuff, and then it's kind of like quite nice and relaxed as it goes onto the palate. No, this kind of carries on through, so it's an interesting one. It's definitely kind of interesting, but yeah, it's not my bag.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this is probably for me is the best drum of the night for me now. This would probably get my vote, having been the last. If I'm allowed to say that, maybe that's too early. I don't know.
But Oliver, do you find yourself sort of gravitating towards peat a lot, or
No, not at all.
No?
I'm literally, I've got quite a lot of whiskey, and not a lot of it is peated. I don't know whether this has been maybe finished in like an ex-Lefroy cask instead of it just being peated in production, so that then maybe it's been finished in a cask that has previously held peated whiskey. I don't know, but like it's.
Oh, you mean it's really subtle? It's
yeah. Okay. So you don't necessarily think this is full on Isla peat, basically.
I don't know. I've maybe I need to drink more whiskey to know what it is.
Well, we all need to do that.
Isla.
You always need to drink more whiskey. Always.
Some Isla peat's quite subtle. I mean, I'm looking at like, somebody said in the chat, or was it something else? Kalila.
Yeah, I'm going
down.
Ardmore or Kalila or Lechek on this.
Yeah, I'm not going to anything really Isla at all.
No.
I'm very much a committed peathead, but I'm really enjoying this. But number 3 is still my favourite, I think. But definitely not an Isla sort of peat. It feels very different to that.
Highland peat is quite a bit softer, isn't it, than Isla peat? I tend to enjoy a Highland peated whiskey more than an Isla peated whiskey, because it's just that little bit more. I've not been drinking whiskey for long enough to be able to tell the difference, but this is quite soft.
What about
an
Pelican?
outlier? Is it something like a Scapa or something like that? That's, I don't know. Yeah, I like it, but yeah, it's really in place.
It's either it's older, but it doesn't taste particularly high in alcoholic volume. It's very, very delicious.
So again, because I kind of gave a hint before, I will tell you that not because I think that this is going to make a massive difference in terms of everybody's choice, but this one, number 5, is actually the highest ABV.
Yeah, I got that. It blew my head off. Took too much of it first, and it like went straight up my nose. Like mustard almost.
Really, I got that.
Going, what the hell are you saying? Sorry, go on.
So I got that more from number 4 than this one. This one, I'm not going to use the word smooth because that's apparently vetoed. But
so I'm curious, Simon, what was your view on this one?
I liked it, but it's not my favourite.
No. Okay.
You look at the poll, you'll see, because I was miles ahead of everyone. I worked my way through all 5.
Okay. I haven't even looked at the poll so far. So yeah, the poll is on the group. If you want to start putting your vote forward, if you'd like to.
Are we allowed to vote more than once?
No, ideally, if you vote one, we're ideally looking for your favorite. So just one vote, if you don't mind, because otherwise it'll skew it for others as well.
I think it is. So is this again? Actually, you're going on the Facebook now, yeah, and voting.
Yeah. So if you'd like to start voting, it is on the Facebook group. So I'll share the actual. I don't know if this will.
I'll probably not. But I'll probably leave it.
So I think that might take you straight to comment or to vote on the right on the poll. I think that's correct.
Are you going to do this like Britain's Got Talent style? So close the voting and announce them in reverse order.
It does take you to the poll, yeah.
It does take you to the poll, right?
Are we going to do
I thought you were going to leave the poll open for those who weren't able to attend to also vote.
Right. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I'm gonna put it out there that we can close the vote tonight with you guys, and unfortunately, if others, I mean, I did highlight that it's kind of to Ian and my discretion as to how quickly we close the vote, because obviously there are some people who've got sets who couldn't join tonight. Some have put their votes in already, so I can add that to the voting lineup. But some probably won't get to vote for the next day or so. But it would be good to get something closed off tonight, I suspect, would be a good way of doing it. So, and you guys have been here. I think you're the majority. Generally, there was 43 sets or something that went out, not including me. So 44 sets in total. So
what if it comes down to one vote?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
What if there's just one vote between first and second place, and there's one person that isn't here?
Well, we go with the majority. We go with the one that's got the most, don't we, Ian?
First past the post, I suppose. That horribly corrupt, unfair system.
First past the post.
I was going to say if you tie between two, and then other people maybe have chosen other things, we can maybe have a playoff, as it were.
So I'm just
maybe we should have done what's the PR, what's the proportional representation vote? Is it an STV, STV, STV? We could have single transferable vote. We could have done that. But you're right. Too complicated for Facebook. Yeah.
So at the moment, can you guys?
I'm quite enjoying refreshing the page. It's quite good to see how it changes.
Yeah. So I think at the moment, number 3 is winning. 42% of the vote.
I mean, I've got to say, I'm not going to be disappointed which one out of the 5 is going to win. I haven't disliked any of them. 4 I'm unsure on, but I don't actively dislike it.
Yeah.
Can I ask a silly question? Being the mathematician that I am, if there have been 17 votes, how can number 2 have only got 1%, which would indicate at least 1 vote, and at 17 votes, each vote is essentially worth 5%? I'm just wondering how that happens.
Well, you can take that up with Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, take that up with Zuckerberg, yeah.
Mr. Ogden, you are worse than me at OCD, and I would have OCD if the letters were in the right order.
Well, Dave, I used to write the language that Facebook is written in, and I can tell you that its arithmetic is a little suspect.
Well, we're seeing that now.
I guess that with 17 votes and 1%, there's definitely summing up. There's a rabbit away somewhere.
It's the Steve Laidlaw factor. Some influence. That's what it is.
I'm just guessing at something basic, like it won't give anything 0. So the next
Do you know, mate? That's what I'm thinking it must be.
Yeah.
So anybody not voted yet? Are we literally, is that it? So we've got a clear head, like one of them's really way ahead at the moment at 45% of the vote, and that's number 3.
And Carl, does that bear through, given the fact you're now going to have to start manually figuring this out, which with Facebook's 1% because no one can come in, like the participation medal, let's call it. How are you going to work out your
who voted for who? So it shows the name of who's voted on the one I'm looking at.
Right.
It's like the number 2. It's now showing us 4% with 1 vote from Mr. Casey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with 5%.
When there's the
I'm thinking my number
down
2
from
shows
5, but
5%.
that's better maths.
With my vote.
Yeah. So we're still, it's relatively close between number 5 and 3, but 3 is still definitely a fair bit ahead.
I'm happy with that.
But Carl, you can only vote once. So where did your people
I haven't
vote?
voted
And
yet.
Yeah, but you've got essentially 5 votes to cast, and I'm guessing that Ian has got 4 or 5 votes to cast as well.
Yeah. So
no, these guys have voted, and I have not. I'm not going to vote. I'm going to abstain because I'd rather you guys chose.
Well, I'm going to put in my vote.
If there's a massive swing to number 5, I'm demanding a recount call.
How many people are on this call, by the way? Have we just how many? Because I'm on my phone, I can't quite see everyone.
I'm
23.
I'm
23, right? Okay, cool.
I'm going to go with.
And have you got the votes that have already been cast before?
Yeah, I'm just tallying them up. I won't
It's
be
23 minus 1. I'm logged in twice.
It's 24 vote on the Facebook thing then.
Well, I've just voted myself, and I'm just trying to catch up on exactly what the other votes might be. Bear with me a second. Has everybody voted here now?
Yeah.
Carl, if you've got 1 vote for number 3, it automatically wins. Because 5 can't catch up, I've just refreshed.
Well, I can tell you now that not all of the 5 have voted for 5. So straight away that tells us.
No, you right now, if no one votes for number 3, but you've got 3 votes for 5, I believe it catches up. So it really depends. If you've got 1 vote for 3, game's over.
Right. So no, there's only 2 votes for 5. Ooh, so it's close then.
So can we find out what
Number 3
that
is not too bolter.
Please not number 5.
It's not number 5 then. If that's all the votes in now, we are looking at it's number 3.
Hang on.
But why has it gone to cock?
Mine's only
broken.
showing 1 and 5. 1
It
and
was
2.
like
Based on your
24
browsing
votes.
history, Cole.
Yeah,
there's only
mine's
5
buggered
votes
as well.
now.
Mine's now gone back to 5 votes. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Weird.
Hell?
And there's only 2
Hang
options.
Laidlaw,
sorry.
take your fingers off the keyboard.
Who's hacked it?
Who really wants sample number 1 to win?
I promise you.
My God, how can it be this difficult?
It was definitely number 3 because
It was
I don't know what
definitely
happened.
number 3.
It was, wasn't it?
I
So-
don't know whether it was or wasn't. I reckon it's a dead heat almost. If you've got 3 votes or 2 votes for number 5, it could be a dead heat.
I think we need to go back to the postal vote, Dave.
I think we should get samples of 3 and 5 together. Try them.
I went back to number 3, and I think that could be the grain.
I'm happy with number 3. I think I like number 2 a little bit more, but number 3 is my
happy with 3.
Right. Let's do the just amongst us for the moment. Who would vote for number 3 as being their favourite for the festival bottling?
Yeah, vote for me.
Sorry, can you use the thumbs up or the or the hand, just so I can get a better idea. Right.
Might need to reach for the keyboard.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, only 6.
Hang on, I'm a yay as well.
All right.
I
Okay,
can't seem to-
7.
Yep.
And Ian, what was the vote there? Was it only 1, or you're on mute? Sorry.
We had 2 for 3. Yeah.
So I think that was 9, 8
It
or
was
9.
it was 12 initially.
Oh crap! Ian, what are we going to go with here? Because it feels to me as if 3 had the win.
I think 3. I would if I was voting, I would vote 3 on the blind tasting as well. So I think I think 3 had the win.
I think. Does anybody disagree with that finding?
Anything but 5.
No.
Everyone who voted for 5 disagrees. But
Please release 5 as well.
yeah, can we have 2?
Yes, well,
can
I
we
will
have 2
do, so
releases?
I'll let you know when I do.
Can we get what they were?
Yeah,
And you can write
Right.
the tasting notes, Becca, for that one for sure.
We need to declare the winner. We need to declare the winner before we know what they are. Definitely.
So
we do. Do you want me to, Carl? Do you want me to say which the winner was first of all?
Yes, go for
it. Since we can't trust Facebook, can I put? Let's put it this way. I'm a software engineer. I work for a FTSE 100 company. I've got various polling apps in my pocket that we can use that aren't Facebook related that might actually give us a.
No, decision's been made. Nice try. All right. Bear in mind,
obviously, I don't care if number 1 doesn't finish.
Rob,
It doesn't win.
I voted for number 5. I'm going to go with number 5. I'm accepting majority rule of 3. There's no more of this bullshit. Let's just get on with it. Ian,
I think
number 3.
I tend to.
GPT.
I tend to agree that we've done the vote. I think we could all see that.
I can't believe that Facebook's let us down like that as well last minute. But yeah,
I know.
I think
well, according to Facebook, I won. You know.
I'd switch to 3 as well.
Yeah. So okay, well, without further ado, and I actually think someone called it. So number 3, I know there was a bit of confusion between number 2 and 3 of which one was the single grain. Number 3 was in fact the single grain.
That was me. I went back to it and I thought it was the grain.
And what distillery did you say it was?
I didn't actually say it was distillery. I'm not going to lie. I didn't say what distillery, but I went back and said it was
someone
the grain.
called it. Someone called it.
I'd say Port Dundas.
Correct.
Oh, well done.
Correct. You called it's a 22-year-old refill hogshead Port Dundas, sitting at what percent were we at?
It's
53.9%.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So an excellent choice. No, it was really lovely. I actually think we've released 1 Port Dundas. It wasn't 22 yet. It was 21. It was a sister cask. I think this cask is nicer.
Well,
sorry, can we just ask? So Steve, which one did you vote for?
I voted for 3. Yeah.
Are you a big grain fan?
No, I normally don't like grain. I didn't put anything publicly, but I'm speaking to a couple of guys in messages, and I did say, "Oh Christ, number 3 is a bit grainy as well." But I thought 2 was more grainy. So I thought at that stage they can't all be grain. Keep yourself quiet, Steve.
Steve, you've been
You're wrong.
messaging
They're all,
me.
no, they're not all grain.
Steve, you've been messaging me all night. Every single one to you was grain.
So there we have it.
So no, excellent choice, I would say. And
so what were the others?
The others. So I'll go with number 2 next, because obviously people thought that was a grain. That was a tricky one. So someone put in the comments that it was a rum. Who said that?
I did, but I was taking the piss.
No, you were quite right. It was so it's a Fettercairn. It's a Fettercairn 2008. I think it was it was a barrel, and it had been finished in a Jamaican rum cask.
Oh, that's really nice. That's my favorite. That one.
Yeah.
Out of interest,
And
was
also
the
the first
Jamaican-
Fettercairn I've ever tasted, so that's good.
was
that number
was-
two?
That was number two. Yeah.
I had nose and notes on that of like overripe bananas, so that kind of.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Bob on. Yeah. It was a Jamaican rum standard barrel that had been
So Ian,
finished in.
when you say Jamaican rum, was it Worthy Park by any chance?
I'm not entirely sure. We couldn't quite make it out from the cask because it was in a bit of a. It'd been around a bit, so we couldn't make out that. We couldn't make out the distillery, the rum distillery on it. But Cameron was fairly certain it was a Jamaican one.
Okay.
It was one of his. It was one of Cameron's emergency casks because one of the ones that we were going to use we couldn't for some reason, and he did his magic trick where he just finds one in the cask graveyard that would be good for finishing in.
And what's
So,
the ABV on that one?
that one was
54.1.
correct, 54.1. If we're going in kind of wacky order, we'll go back because number one was actually number one had a few votes. So number one was from Glenglassaugh Distillery. It was actually quite young. It was 2014, and it was actually a port barrique. A port pipe, sorry. And it had been finished for 3 months in a Sauternes barrique.
I thought the first one was a port, but I didn't want to say anything because it looked like a Wally.
No, Bob. That was port finished in Sauternes, and so Bob on. And the percentage was 56.5 for that one. And so right, what would you guess number 4 was exactly the sherry makeup of it? Anybody?
Is it a bit of a strange kind of sherry?
Yeah, slightly odd. It's not very normal. It's a double finish.
Is it like a Paolo Cortado or something like that?
No.
Fino?
No.
Matt Salem.
What was that, sorry?
I think it's called Salem. Salem.
You mean Solero?
Masala, I think they're trying to say.
Right, okay. So no, it was a Royal Brakla hogshead bourbon that had been finished for a year and a half in a Muscat.
Oh.
And then had been finished for 3 months in a fino sherry after that.
Interesting.
So bourbon, Muscat, and then fino. So that's why it was a bit more complex than just your standard cherry bomb. It was interesting.
Yeah.
What strength was it? Because it didn't feel particularly strong.
It was 51.6, and there was 2008 as well. 2008.
That was definitely punching way above its weight.
But I really like that one. I find it much more interesting than just I love a sherry bomb, but I love the kind of long biscuity finish on that one. I think the fino sherry added that because I've tried the Muscat by itself, and that was just very fruity. And this one, the fino sherry finish gave it another dimension.
I would never have guessed
Fino.
Sorry. I would have never guessed it was a Muscat there.
No, it's funny.
And then
you're
right. I think that Fino's had quite a big impact on the overall flavour, but it's
definitely. I'm actually because we I've still been separating even when I've not picked casks for the Copper and Oak and Permutation series. I still tend to split them in half. So I've still got the first half of the Muscat, and then this is only half of the Muscat. Then so the first half of that same cask has actually been picked for another festival, for the Spirit of Alba Festival in Kirkintilloch next month. There's a great wee shop. They've got quite a good Facebook and Instagram presence, but yeah, so that's the bottling for that one.
It'd be very interesting to try. I mean, when you do the release of the Muscat, I bet that's interesting. Without
it is. Yeah,
influence.
Yeah, really different.
Yeah.
And what do we? Any distillery guesses for number 5?
How old was number 5 before we answer, if you don't mind me asking?
How old?
Yeah.
It was a 2009.
Ardmore.
Yeah, Ardmore.
Ardmore?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yay!
You're getting good. Too good for this.
Validation.
It was an Ardmore. It was just a refill bourbon. That was it.
Ardmore's lovely stuff. It really is.
It is. And that was, yeah, as Carl said, it was the strongest one, 61.7.
Wow.
So I didn't expect that one to come second, to be fair.
How old was that one?
It was 2009. It was laid down, so it was the kind of around the kind of 14.
I think it's difficult. I think for me anyway, that peated whiskey is so different to unpeated whiskey that it's very hard to pick one bottle between the two. For me, I would like the 5 to be a festival bottle as well as another one, and people be able to pick whether they like peated or not. I'm amazed number 3's grain, I've got to say. Amazed at that.
Is that what you voted, Andy?
No, I voted for number 2.
All right.
But it was very close. Number 3 was like literally only a slight difference. And in hindsight, as ever, number 2 is like, I think I was joking. I said number 2 is a rum, not an actual whiskey finished in a rum cask, but actually rum. But I really like Worthy Park rum as well. I've got some.
Yeah.
I did a tasting that we did, oh God, years ago, right at the start of lockdown, I think it was. And I've bought quite a few of their rums over. So clearly, I'm really predictable in that way. Then.
Yeah. I'd like to do another Worthy Park actually tasting, because they are good stuff. So, well, guys, that was the festival bottling pick, and it is now official. We have a Fib Whiskey Festival bottling, which will be number 3, the Port Dundas. Well done. Thanks very much.
Awesome.
All right.
Fantastic.
Holy shit.
And roughly kind of price point on
Yes.
that?
Could we have an indication, Ian? Or
Yeah. I was thinking. I was just actually talking about this and looking at the sums. And I think so. I probably wouldn't do the whole cask because there's a lot of bottles. 290. So I think that would possibly be a bit much for the festival.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'll do half of the cask, and then who knows, save another half for some other exciting venture. Price point. I was thinking I would do it for £69. How does that sound for you? As a 22-year-old single grain, I think that's okay.
I was just about to ask you how old it was. Yeah, that sounds very reasonable.
Cool. I think because I mean the Port Dundas we've done already was 110, and we managed to get this cask a bit cheaper than that one. And its current market value, I know that most of them tend to be about 90-ish for that kind of between 90 and 110-ish.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we can do it for the festival. We could definitely do it for 69, and I can change it to another number if that's too inappropriate. I'm sorry, we've got laughing going.
Yeah, if you could change that to £15.
Yeah, I know. 68, no 68. Well, but yeah, that's the kind of ballpark under 70.
So what we'll do is, Ian, we'll if everybody would like to either message myself or to Ian directly and put in if you want to pre-order your bottle, and then that way we can get it sorted so that you don't have to pay the postage. It'll just be at the festival for you.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
But fantastic. I mean, it's been a fantastic tasting for me. I've loved, to be honest, I would have been happy any of them. Maybe not. 2 would have probably been the weakest of them all for me, but all of them were good. Dead.
Can someone just reply to the event or something and actually put up what they were in there if we're able to, because I'm not taking notes.
Right.
Yeah. I was gonna.
What age was number 4? I missed that in the chat.
ABV was it? Sorry.
What age was number 4?
Oh, the age. That was a similar. That was 2008 as well. We had a few 2008, 2009s. So that was 2008, the Royal Brakla.
So while I was decanting, I took a picture of all of the bottles. So I'll post up so you can see precisely what the 5 were.
Perfect.
Ian,
And I think,
Ian, if you know you short bottles and whatnot, and you're thinking for the festival, you want to kind of like do 1, 3, and 4 as well. Then happy days.
Just bottle them all for the festival.
If you could just do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, if that's all right.
I'll just blend them all together into a
in fact, I'll even
teapot.
concede 5 also for the filth monsters.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask actually. I don't know if this would be if any of you guys wanted to create some tasting notes for it, you'd be more than welcome, because obviously it's your festival bottling. I can't remember what people said at the time, but even if anyone just has things they want to throw out in there, you can feel free to.
Becca's already probably sending them.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to just message Carl with some whatever you thought on it, I can include a kind of mismatch of everyone's tasting notes. That'll
be good.
I'll make a massive tasting note. It's going to be in this bottle. This is the shape of bottle, so it's going to be it's called a decanter Contessa, because it has a bit more room for the kind of art. What it'll probably be like is similar to this in that it'll have this section at the bottom with all the info about what the cask is. For the top, I was going to ask you guys, what would you like? Because I'll get our artist Orla back on it again to do a special design just for the festival. Would you like something like? I mean, if I was just thinking about it, I would have said something like, I don't know, a nice scene in the middle of Newcastle, like the bridge or something like that. Tying in with. But what would you guys? That's from an outsider's perspective.
Which one out of 7?
Well, and to be fair, Newas is definitely not entirely Newcastle.
No, it's not. That's the thing. It's really not. So
I'm in Brighton, so I mean, if you want the kind of i360 in the background as well, then no worries.
So I mean, I'm gonna throw it out there that I mean, personally, I would say I know Newas is obviously northeast whiskey. It's northeast England, but actually, geographically speaking, it would be nice to have some sort of almost people kind of based thing rather than geographical.
Rather than geographic, yeah, okay.
Because I think the biggest thing about this is actually it is the people. It's
a very broad
all
church,
to do with where we are.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
I completely disagree. Bugger the lot of them. Northeast, sod them. No.
Get the Angel of the North on there.
Yeah, Timebridge, Angel of the North, Glasgow, Edinburgh.
What about the
High Street?
What about Whiskey Indie Festival? The actual logo being somewhere on the bowl. That'd be quite nice to have the actual logo of the festival on there. Even if it's at the back. And then have something kind of funky on the front, but even if it's on the back, whatever, it'd be quite nice to have the kind of.
I think I agree. It'd be nice to have the logo on it. Would you want the Newas logo on it as well, Carl, in some shape or form?
Up to these guys.
Yeah, why not?
Just an idea.
I was actually thinking like of a cross, like a kiss.
Ollie's.
Oh yeah, a face that doesn't look like a face.
Ollie suggested that you do like the Valence series and you have Carl's face on it.
If it's up to us, then you've got no say, Carl. If we're all voting for your face, then democracy.
Which one? The early days with the big mop, the current, or?
No, Ian. Based on the original nosing notes, it should be given a name: the grower, not the shower. And I think that'll.
Oh dear! I'd hate to think of the.
Just to give you an SMWS name.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll definitely go with that. We'll get the logos on there as well, subtly, and I'll get onto Orla, and we'll do something that's more people based about coming together for the whiskey. Yeah, we'll do something like that for sure.
I bet you wish you hadn't asked the question now, Ian.
Yeah, I know. Poor Orla. She'll come up with something though. She's good.
But thank you very much, Ian. It's been it really has. I mean, I've loved it. And we need to do more of these kind of getting to choose whiskies for bottling is great. I mean, we have done this with the likes of Ian Allen at Glen Murray for like the latest fill your own cask and stuff, and they are unbeatable, aren't they? I mean, for being able to kind of be out there and select these kind of select the cask that's used or the bottle that's picked or whatever. It's fantastic, and thanks again, Ian, for letting us.
No, it's all right. No worries. No, thanks for like I said many times, like you were the first of any sort of whiskey community to support Fib when we first started doing stuff. So
thanks.
Yeah. And I think Rob got our first ever order as well. So kudos to you, Rob, ever. So yeah. Forever in the history books for that one. But yeah, no, not a problem at all. It's been
well, sorry, I introduced you to the group, but somebody else advertised you before.
Yes, it did. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember who it was. There was someone who posted on it, but I forget who that was.
Yeah, so do I. But yeah, I was straight on there the morning you released, and that's how as long as I get number 11 on.
yeah, no, 100% for all the future sets and stuff like that. Number 11 will be set aside. Don't you worry.
And honestly, that blend's lovely. Can you drop us an email? Because I'd like the order I've got in. I'd like to double it. I'd put it up to 2.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I'll drop you an email and we'll work that out. Thank you very much. And thank you for. I'm glad everyone had a go at the blend as well on release day. And yeah, I hope you liked it. And yeah, like I say, I was just trying to do something that was a little bit more accessible when everything's very expensive at the moment.
So Ian, you've had a question come in from Robert, just asking, will there be other bottles that people will be able to buy? Because at the Indie Festival, all of the independent bottlers actually can sell their bottles on the stand, so they don't have to go through a retailer or anything like that. They can sell the direct off their stand. So I'm hoping. I don't know if you can answer that.
Yeah, 100%. We will have other stuff there. We will have. I don't know if we will have the next Copper and Oak yet. We might not. It may be that we have some of the whiskey stock that we have left available to buy, as well as probably some Beastie and the festival bottling, and some. If we've got the new Copper and Oak coming out, we may even have some of the old Copper and Oak slightly reduced as well. So it might be a chance to bag a bargain as well. But yeah, no, we'll have plenty of other stuff on the stall. Awesome.
And we look forward to the pre-festival party as well.
I
will be releasing tickets as soon as possible on that. I'm just having a struggle to kind of understand exactly how many tickets are needed for the exhibitors and the patrons and stuff and the volunteers. So I can't release the remaining tickets until I know exactly how many are being taken by all of those guys. But there probably will be at least 50, I would imagine, of the tickets available for the pre-festival party. And obviously Ian will be there with, as the pre-festival party sponsor. So yeah.
Bring on the filth. Bring on the filth.
Yeah.
Ian, maybe a question then, now that we've made the decision, was there one of these casks that you wanted to bottle that perhaps we didn't pick?
No, not necessarily. No, I mean, you picked one of my favorites. My favorite's probably 3 and 4. And it was a funny one because I was I'm doing another festival bottling later in the year for I don't think anyone was at the Clackmanager Whiskey Festival, but they are doing another one later in the year at Murrayfield in Edinburgh, called the Edinburgh Whiskey Festival, just not the National Whiskey Festival in Edinburgh, which is another one. So I'm doing the festival bottling for that, and they were grappling between the Port Dundas and the Brakla sherry finish. So whatever you didn't choose, they were going to have the other one. So they'll be having the Brakla sherry finish.
Well, we won.
Exactly. Well, I said to him, I'm afraid I approached these guys, Carl, first, so whatever they get first dibs.
The thing is, I kind of want to pre-order the Ardmore as well.
Oh yeah.
Please don't give that an exclusive to another whiskey club or festival.
No, I don't. I'll let you know whatever. I don't have any plans for that one yet. So As soon as I do have plans for it, I will put a message on the group, and I'll let you know. And if I do have plans that make it hard to access, then I can always get another couple of bottles out the cask if anyone wants a couple before it goes somewhere else.
Right, love you. Well, thank you very much, guys, for all coming along. That is the official tasting now over. Thank you again, Ian, and